This is Shanika Wingate with my infectious disease project on RSV. I will be letting you know what slide I am on throughout my presentation, just so everybody it can be on one, accord. Respiratory sentinel virus, better known as RSV, which I will only refer to as RSV. RSV is found in within the genus of the ortho orthopneumovirus, the family of the pneumonovira, and order mononegrovirals. I'm pretty sure I'm tearing these words up. RSV is an envelope negative since uh, single-stranded RNA virus, which is probably about 150 MPs in NMs. I'm sorry, excuse me. RSV can be classified in two different groups, which is the spiral, uh, which is the spherical one, and what is this? Filamentous filamentous species. Both of them are infectious. One is more infectious than the other. The spherical one is more infectious than the. I'm not gonna say more infectious, but more so is more serious than your symptoms and stuff like that are more serious than the B. Um, Since the discovery of RSV is identified as the most common acute respiratory tract infection in infants. Um, it is approximately like 70% of infants will be infected within their first year of life. Um, and not only infants can get it, adults can get it. Their symptoms are not, as serious as it is with an infant. Elderly can get it. With infants, 6 months and younger seem to be more hospitalized because of it. The transmission of RSV is droplets, sneezing, coughing, things like that. It lives on surfaces for several hours. So, touching surfaces and, touching your eyes and stuff like that, you can be exposed to it like that. The life cycle of RSV is pretty, you know, it's pretty, basic for a viral infection. The G proteins basically they initiate the attachment to the cell. It is the F proteins that you know really invade the cell membrane, and once they invade the cell membrane, the RSV virus replicates the whole cell. Once the whole cell is destroyed after that, the virus particles are released and the infection and starts to infect. Um, the F protein causes the infusion of the host cell to other unaffected cells and stuff like that. The Once it infuses with other hosts, other cells, the individual cell membrane breaks down in large, what do you call it? They're called multinucleate epithelial cells. They are formed. So once they're formed, the viral RNA can spread without forming viral particles. That's when the and usually all this happens in like the nasal tract and stuff like that. So is is basically destroying the cells in the upper respiratory tract and stuff like that. So once the destruction of that's when the your immune system starts to respond. Basically, that's when you start getting your symptoms, like maybe your fever and some type of runny nose and stuff like that. Maybe even like a cough. The exposure, the exposure, the immune, the exposure of that starts your immune system, and then with your the primary RSV infection, it weakens your immune response, so it's not able to fight it off how it's supposed to. And it can't, completely destroy the virus. And then that's when you develop your upper respiratory tract infection. Basically, when and then basically that just enhances the reinfection of the RSV virus. And next one. So the signs and symptoms are basically like runny nose. Babies tend to get real irritable, especially when they're like naturally nose breathers. So they get irritable, they fuss, they sneeze and coughing, they don't want to eat because they can't breathe out their nose. They get fevers and wheezing, things like that. I know when my son had it, that's the first symptom we noticed was, he was just cranky, just being, real irritated real easily, wasn't eating, and then the wheezing. We heard the wheezing and stuff like that. Didn't have necessarily a runny nose or nothing like that, but it was a wheezing for us that made us want to take him to the hospital. With the diagnosis for RSV is kind of, because the symptoms like are basically like common cold symptoms, they really look at like history, medical history, because your medical history being like you have some type of predisposed like medical problems, like with children, like children with like asthma, or some type of immunity disorder, like where their immune system is already weakened. That can you know, be some red flags where doctors will look into it. The time of the year, because RSV is usually their their time frame where a lot of children get sick with RSV is like November to April. So, um, and in just a physical exam, they will do like a little mouth swab, and they do the blood cultures for that to see if your white blood cell count is like elevated. Treatment and care, there's no specific treatment for RSV infection. And that's when researchers are trying to like come up with some type of vaccine and some antivirals for it. They do have this medicine which they give in the hospital. It is what is it? Ribavirin, and it basically interferes with the function of the mRNA, and it is a broad is an antiviral. It try to mess interferes with the activity with with the replication of of the virus, and they are trying to start doing this for like children with that are born premature and with other you know chronic lung disease or certain heart defects, and basically weakened immune system. They're doing this medication called Palavivzimba, and it's like a shot. It's supposed to protect infants and children 2 years and younger who are at high risk for serious high risk for serious complications from RSV. It's not totally preventable, but it's supposed to help you know ease the symptoms and the complications from it. Because with you can get the complications from it. You can get pneumonia, bronchitis, and things of that nature, stuff like that. Because I know my son, from having RSV, he ended up with asthma. When he got older and stuff. So the prevention is basically started off washing your hands. I mean, yeah, I know children are like nasty and they don't like to wash their hands. They don't never wash their hands. But it's good to, teach your children the best hand hygiene you can possibly do with them. Avoid exposure. Avoid, exposing your newborn. Like, don't feel bad when people, tell you, don't kiss my baby or don't touch my baby and stuff like that. Because, especially newborns, they're very fragile beings, and they're, susceptible to a lot of, germs and diseases and viruses and stuff like that, because they basically have no immune system. So don't get offended when people say, don't touch my kid, go wash your hands, don't kiss my kid, especially in the face and things like that. Keep things clean, especially with children. We all know children like to put everything in their mouth. Hands, toys, shoes, and all this other stuff. I mean, any and everything, they put it in their mouth. Countertops, doorknobs, everything that's frequently touched. Try to keep those things clean. Don't share. Don't let your kids drink after you. Things like that, or other people. Exposing them to smoke, whether it's like cooking smoke or like tobacco smoke. And stuff like that. Just try to keep the exposure at a minimum. We are already exposing them because we have, they might have sisters and brothers who go out and go to school and bring back germs from their classmates, and we go to work and bring back germs from our jobs. So that is the best way to, keep prevention at a low, because there is no existing vaccines for it. And hopefully they will be soon, since COVID came and they have a rapid, vaccine for that. Maybe they can, develop a vaccine for RSV. Thank you.